What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Sawdust Talk. Let's go! We have got an awesome episode lined up for you guys tonight. We will get our guests in, Mike and Cindy. We got TJ hosting with me, and we'll see who else. But it's going to be a great show. Can't wait. Hope everyone's having a good night. Let's see here. I thought I was getting TJ in here. How's everyone doing? Oh, hey,
what's up, dude?
Hey, there you are.
Look at that. Camera ready.
Camera and looking good too.
Yeah, see? Oh, hold on. I got to move that block of wood from my messy workbench here so you guys can.
Hope everyone is having a good night. So while we get Mike and Cindy in here, just a big shout out to George Supplyco for being a part of the show. Your go-to place for maker merch, right? So what's up, Mike and Cindy? Thank you guys.
What's going on?
How are you guys?
How are you? We're good. Right? Are we good?
It's really bad right now.
Well, welcome to Sawdust Talk. For everyone else, I'm your host, Kyle Brewer, and sometimes I do woodworking. Other times I don't. Most times I don't. I'll hand it over to TJ and introduce yourself, and we'll get back to Cindy.
Yeah. So I'm TJ with TJT Workshop, kind of backwards and right back here. I'm located in St. Louis also, like Kyle. I do a little bit of woodworking. Most of it takes place on a lathe. Here is another one that the camera's propped up on right now. A little bit of metal work, and I'm pretty excited tonight. Mike and Cindy, I think you guys might have been the first woodworking-related live I ever saw on Instagram.
With who? Was it with
so I got two kids under 4, so time and space are kind of pointless. I'm pretty sure that, and you guys are easily one of like the first 6 accounts that I ended up following also, which is pretty cool. So
that is so cool. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, backwards.
But yeah, and so I'm filling in tonight for Jeff at Maker's Way, and he wanted me to prepare the following statement to introduce you guys. Let me get my composure and channel my innermost Jeff. I need to like shave the sides of my head and put neck tattoos down me. But yeah, so I am excited to introduce you all to Mike and Cindy from MikCin Creations, who have been mixing it up a little bit. Not only with a little bit of woodwork, but we've got all kinds of different things that you guys are into, not limited by charcuterie boards, cutting boards, and I guess now mixed media earrings. Is that the direction things are going?
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, so we're happy to have you as our first couple. I know that the couple of times that I've had my wife in the shop, things didn't go nearly as well as they seem to go with you two. So we're glad to have you tonight. And yes, that's the extent of me channeling Jeff's bad comedy.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you. So, it's in our turn.
Yeah. So, Cindy, over to you guys. Tell us a little bit about yourselves, how you got started, what you're doing, kind of. Just give us some intel here.
You want to go?
No.
Okay. Well, we are Mike and Cindy, and we are MikCin Creations. And like he said, we mix our creations. I do most of our woodworking, or all of the woodworking, I guess, and she does all the crafting, painting, staining. She takes care of the bills. She takes care of the kids. She homeschools the kids and takes care of everything. So all I do is the woodworking. That's it. But we are in Victoria, Texas, which if you look at a map, Austin, San Antonio, and Houston all make a triangle, and we're 2 hours away from each of those cities. and they're all in opposite directions. But it's not a huge city, but it's a decent sized city. But we love it out here. And we got our start from, I guess, humble beginnings.
We're going to talk about some of those humble beginnings, but I went way back into 2016 posts.
Oh,
So-
wow.
Yeah.
The embarrassing posts.
Yeah, I was like, you should take that picture down. Those are horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So, I mean, I guess the biggest thing was the flood. We had a flood, and it was a very, very, very tough time for us. My wife, my daughter, and I had to. My son was in school, thank goodness, but the three of us had to literally swim out of our house. And it was insane. We were stuck up in the attic for like, I don't know, an hour, 45 minutes or something like that, and called 911, and they were like, we're trying to get over there, but it's flooded. They couldn't do it. So our neighbor, which was maybe not even 500 feet from us, her house was not flooded. So she called Cindy and said, hey, come on over to our house. So we literally, she put our cell phones and shoes and all that in a cooler, and then I went out and got the trampoline, and then we put the cooler and our daughter on the trampoline and just dragged it over to the neighbor's house. So that was crazy. But the thing about that house, it was a rental. It was a small little farmhouse, and that is where she started doing the Pinterest thing. Like, she was all about DIY everything.
We were broke for like pretty much our entire marriage.
Yeah.
And we couldn't afford to buy new things. And I wanted a new look. We had this same stuff basically our whole marriage, and it's stuff that was hand-me-down, stuff we found on the side of the road. So instead of like getting new stuff, I just painted everything, and like including a fabric rocking chair.
I thought she was crazy.
But
it came out cool.
Color for me, it transforms my world.
Yeah.
Like, I feel certain ways with color, and I felt uplifted with the change. And I was asking him if I saw all these mom or wives on Pinterest, and their husband made them this, and I was like, whatever, just jealous. And so I would ask him to make me stuff, and so he wasn't really interested at the time.
Yeah,
but
I was not about it. I took a shop class in high school, and I didn't like it. And I never again, like, touched a saw, a sander, any of that stuff. I just wasn't interested in it. I was more into like the car world. I liked mechanical stuff, but now it's kind of the opposite. I hate doing mechanical stuff, and I love doing woodworking stuff. But it's all because, like, the shelf. She asked me to build the shelf. And all I had was, like a hammer, and
we had no storage.
We had no storage. There was no garage or anything. I just built everything outside, and she had no place to put anything in the laundry room. It was just the washer and dryer. So she wanted a shelf above the washer and dryer. I worked at H-E-B at the time, which is a very popular grocery store here in Texas. If you're from Texas, you know H-E-B and you love H-E-B. And I worked for them. I was an overnight stalker. So I went ahead and got some pallets, and I took an old hammer and like just pried everything apart. And because I saw on Pinterest, all you had to do was take slats this way and then a couple of slats this way and hammer them together. It was simple.
That's all.
So I was like, I could do this. So I did that, and it was way simpler than I thought it was going to be. But the look on her face when we got it hung up was just like, she was telling everybody about it, and she was so impressed, and she was like, can you make me this? Can you make me this? And it was just awesome. like I just started falling in love with that. It was so cool to be able to like say I did this for my wife, you know, and we saved a ton of money doing that, and you know, I started getting. She's saying hi to
My Aunt Becky.
Yeah, Aunt Becky. So I started getting like I bought a sander at the flea market for $5. I bought a circular saw, you know, old like the Sears Craftsman tools and all that stuff, just hand-me-down tools. And
my dad gave us some tools.
Yep. Her dad gave us some tools, and it was just awesome. So a lot of that stuff got flooded. You know, we had what we call the blue wall at that house, and we had this old record player that she painted and made it look farmhousey with the, you know, the light blues and pinks and, you know, the whites and all that, and it was so pretty. But you know, all that stuff got ruined. So with that, and also this house that we were renting was inexpensive. It was an older lady, and she was super nice, and we had a great deal. You know, our monthly rent was affordable, and we were, you know, trying to pay off bills and things like that. So we were doing good before this flood. But then the flood happened. And
we weren't doing good.
Well, we were doing
financially.
We were trying. we were making it. We were, you know, surviving. But then the flood happened, and then for the next like 5 or 6 months or so, we had moved to her mom's house. We had moved to her sister's house. We finally got our own apartment. But for those of you that don't know, the rent in Austin has been and continues to be, but has always been, or at least for the past 10, 15, 20 years, extremely high. And we found that out. You know, one day we had an $800 rent, and the next day we had to pay, you know, $1,500, $1,600, which we couldn't afford. So I started driving. I had been driving for Lyft in Austin at the time. Uber. Lyft and Uber at the time, excuse me. And with my job, my full-time job, and plus doing that, we were making ends meet. It was tough, but we were doing it. So what happened is, after the flood, we put everything that we were able to save in storage. And then we finally ended up getting this apartment. We could barely afford it. You know, I had to drive a lot after work. I worked overnight, so after work I would go and drive. And because she had the kids, you know, so she couldn't just go out and get a job because she had the kids. So everything was good, or making it. But then what happened is Lyft and Uber got voted out of Austin because they were going through that. If you remember years back, they were going through that whole thing with the taxi cab companies and, you know, getting sued and all that. They were voted out of Austin that May. The flood happened in October, and they got voted out. I believe it was that May. And that was devastating. That was almost worse than the flood itself, because that was what was
progress was still going back.
So that's where the beginning of MikCin Creation started, because what happened is we had all our stuff in storage. We were paying, you know, the $1,500 rent plus the $200 storage fee. And and the
storage fee was about to go up.
Yeah, it was about to go up. So we were struggling. It turns out that the storage facility was right next to a huge flea market in Kyle, Texas. It's an old place, but there's a lot of really
cool finds.
Yeah, it's just a lot of vendors that have been there for years and years. The rent there was a lot cheaper than the rent at the storage. So we were like, why don't we just bring all our stuff there and act like we're selling stuff? And
we did.
And that's exactly what we did. We had our refrigerator survived the flood. We still have the refrigerator. It was like, you know, like this when we walked into that house after the flood, leaning up against the wall, but we still have it.
That's incredible.
So we went there, and that's where we started to sell all her crafts that she had done. Yeah, from the blue wall, all the pictures that, you know, she painted and all that stuff. We started selling all that. at the same time, I had seen this. It's an exactly 30-minute video on YouTube showing how to do picture transfers. So you transfer pictures onto wood.
Oh, you do that?
Oh no, I was hoping we were going to get to talk about gel medium transfers.
They're the infamous weather wood picks.
Famous.
Yeah, famous now. So with those, so what we did, I learned how to do that. I was getting the pallet wood from work. I was even going out to Hobby Lobby, or was it Hobby Lobby?
Yeah.
To buy little plaques of wood, and I was, the first few that I did, I forgot to reverse the image, so they would come out reversed.
Still have them.
Yeah, we still have some of those.
That's awesome.
And we started selling those. We were in an apartment in the 3rd floor, so I was taking those pieces of pallet wood. I was bringing them upstairs, doing all the picture transfers, and then on the weekend, the flea market was only open Saturday and Sunday. So on the weekends, we would go and try to sell them, and we did start selling them.
Then you started getting requests for like family pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it was just like, it wasn't so much money. Like, we weren't like successful, but it was enough to help out, throughout that entire summer, between selling what we had in storage to, making a little bit extra cash with these orders. We were making coasters, and I'm talking just taking a fence picket, that I might have found on the side of the road, or taking a piece of pallet, cutting it with my circular saw. I didn't even know about using a speed square to make it a straight cut. Things like that. Just using that palm sander and sanding it and putting the picture transfer on, and they came out okay. Polyurethane the thing, and you still see the drops of polyurethane on it. All that stuff. It was just horrible, but it was selling. And I mean, I'd be selling posters for $5 or $20 a set or whatever, and it worked. But by that, and at the flea market. I'm sorry, I'm taking over this, but I get so excited talking about this. This is
exactly what we're here for, man. You're on a roll.
Absolutely.
So,
we stop you. So
I was doing all this. I had that sander. I ended up buying a Dremel. I had that sander, and we had the circular saw. We were on some Saturdays and Sundays while we were there. I would be sanding, cutting, doing all this stuff while the flea market's open. There's customers walking around. They're coming into my shop, and as soon as they walk out, turn the saw on, cut a piece of wood. Because we couldn't do this at the apartment. So that's the only place we could do it. And it was only open Saturday and Sunday. So I couldn't go throughout the week to do it, So this was our time. And I had to get these pieces of wood done by Sunday night, because throughout the week is when we were going to be doing the picture transfers. So one day the manager comes up to me and he's like, "Come here." So I was like, crap, we're going to get kicked out of this place for using power tools while it's open. Customers are walking around and I'm using power tools. So he walks me, and it's a big building. It's like a maze. He walks me over to the other side of the building, and he opens the door, and he's like, and I like, my jaw dropped because he opened the door and it was a wood shop. He had table saw, miter saw. I get teary-eyed just thinking about it, because I was just like, what are you showing me? And he's like, "I'm here Tuesday through Friday, and you can come and use this. You promise me you don't cut your fingers off. You can come and use this whenever you need to." He told me the times he's there, and I was able to go, and I used a table saw for the very first time in my life. I used a miter saw for the very first time in my life, all in that shop. That's where I learned how to use those tools. I didn't know anything about kickback. I didn't know anything about cutting you don't want to use a warped piece of wood on a table saw, because I found out why. But it was just amazing. And that's where, I had already fallen in love with making stuff for Cindy, and then making stuff for customers, people that a lot of them were family members and friends, but a lot of them started being people that we didn't know, real customers, and they're all real, but now at this time is when I started to fall in love with the tools and the craft. And I started watching the YouTube videos, and I started watching, the Wood Whisperer and Steve Ramsey and all these guys back then, and it was I just started falling in love. So then what happened? Oh, Victoria.
Yeah. Well, we just couldn't do it. We couldn't afford
Austin
anymore.
Even with that little bit of extra income, because of the lost income from Lyft and Uber, that was a good part-time job along with my full-time job. So
he was just working so much.
Yeah.
He was just not getting any sleep, and we just, I don't know how long he could have kept doing it.
Yeah. It was probably about 6 or 7 months of close to 15 to 18-hour days.
Oh my God.
Almost 7 days a week. And it was I was exhausted. And we had young kids too, so it was very tough time. But her cousin lives here in Victoria. And he said, come work with me. He owns it's a nationwide brand, Kona Ice. He owns a Kona Ice truck. And he said, work with me. He helped us move here to Victoria. The rent went back down to about where it was when we were at the farmhouse. But the difference here is that we got an apartment with an attached garage, and that changed everything for me. Because then I started to be able to buy tools. So I worked with him for a little while. It didn't actually work out. But I ended up getting another job, and then I eventually ended up going back to HEB. But we started filling up that garage, man, with the table saw.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah. And talking used tools and this and that, and then after a while, we started getting real serious about it.
Well, we had a market day.
Oh, yeah.
And we're very naive. Didn't know. Like in Kyle, we didn't have to have any kind of permit or license to sell there. But our very first market day here in Victoria, a tax assessor,
the tax assessor
was walking around and asked us where our tax ID was, and we're like,
"What's a tax ID?"
Yeah, we had no idea. And she's like, "Well, you better get one today, or you're going to be fined."
Yep.
And so
we were like, where do we sign?
So we had to become official. And honestly, he tells everybody this is my business, but he just put my name on the paper. So I'm technically the CEO, and I used to be a lot more involved.
I'm only the president.
I used to be a lot more involved because, it was my passion initially. I love to paint. I love to craft. And unfortunately, the beginning of our business was a lot of my crafts. And I look at them now and I'm like, oh, that's not very good. But, we're both super critical of ourselves.
Yeah.
We're the biggest critics
of ourselves.
Of our own selves.
Yeah.
And fortunately now he's found his own passion of the charcuterie boards and spoons and things that he can build that require me a little bit less because homeschooling and managing, this is our very first house. It's been a long struggle to be able to get to this point where we could be on our own. And, we have been with family most of our marriage.
Yep.
More years of our marriage have been living with family than on our own. It feels like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
So,
and I just want to say the farmhouse was a rental. The house we live in now is our house. We own this house.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I forgot what I was
Yeah.
going to say.
You
I'm
guys,
sorry.
incredible story, and I appreciate you guys being so open and honest about it. I mean,
Thank you.
it's an incredible story, and I would say like everybody in the comments is, you know, how cool is that you guys have come this far, and I guess, you know, from my perspective, like, how did you go about like starting it, and like, are you guys doing this full time now? Kind of where are you at with the business?
So our story continues. We're in the middle of the story right now,
Absolutely.
because yes, we just started full time last December.
Okay. I have to take over
Yeah.
because he had just been working and working. And yes, we have not been financially stable our entire marriage, but he has allowed me to be able to stay home. Stay home with the kids. So the entire time that we've had kids, I've been able to be a stay-at-home mom. And he was worn out. He was exhausted, and he was having such a hard time getting up and going to work. And so many years of our marriage, when he has worked overnight, he slept during the day and woke up when it was time for us to go to sleep. So we never really got to see each other because we had opposite schedules for many, many years. So that was really hard. So I could see how worn out he was. And
the emotion
I knew
is what
that he was like fed up. He all he could talk about was woodworking. And I'm like, oh, what did I do? What did I do? But that's all he wanted to do. And he's like, he's, you know, kicking his feet like, I don't want to go to work, pouting. And I was like, do you have a plan? And so we talked about, you know, how can we do this? Because for the first time in our almost 15 years of marriage, were we in a place where I felt comfortable financially. And I'm not a very comfortable person. I've lived with stress for so long that it's what I know. I'm a highly stressed out person by nature. And
that's where the crafting comes in.
Yeah, it was like therapy to me, really. But I just knew he had to take this chance because he was not going to be okay unless he did. And so we made a plan, and we had to reach a dollar amount where we couldn't go below. And we've way past that so many times. And I'm like, somehow we came back with the tax money. We're like, okay, we can do this a little bit longer. And then we're back down again. And it's scary.
Yeah.
But somehow that puts some fire under his butt. And he's been hustling lately, and it's like it's a roller coaster of emotions doing this business.
It really is. And you know, I think so. We started full time in December, last December. What I found out maybe a month ago, 2 months ago, between a month and 2 months ago, is I made a mistake. So my mistake was that because it's our company, I didn't realize in my mind that I'm the one that went full time in the company. She is still doing her life. She shouldn't have gone full time in my brain, because she's still homeschooling the kids, taking care of the family, taking care of the bills. You know, she does everything. I wasn't doing a lot of that because I was out working, but you know, now I start working at home and I start building a lot of these things. I always make the plaques. I call them plaques for her to, you know, paint and do her craft. Well, I was making so many of those, and she was having to, do a lot of her craft. So she also went full time with the business along with what she was doing already. And yeah, I can say maybe I wash the dishes a little more because I'm home, but it's not it's not enough because I'm out in the garage building things all day long. So I think that was the biggest mistake. So that's where the charcuterie boards really started to help out, because it's not something that relies on her. It's something that I can build 100% from start to finish. And then from that, I learned that, hey, I can do a lot of this myself while she can do her thing part-time like she has been for the past however many years. So then I started building, I started to get comfortable enough, I guess, I don't know if comfortable is the right word, but brave enough to start building cabinets. Because cabinets is a whole new ballgame. You got to have straight cuts. You got to know how to read a tape measure. You got to know, which side of the line you're cutting on, all that stuff. It's a lot more technical. And as it turns out, I'm very, very critical of measurements and, lines and stuff like that. But I love doing that. I think charcuterie boards and cutting boards is my absolute favorite thing to build. But I really, really like building cabinets and bookshelves. I'm trying to get a job right now for a dinner table for a family, things like that. I love doing that. So I think the last maybe month or so, we started marketing a little bit different on Facebook and Marketplace, and it's been working. But it's so weird the way the world works, because just a few weeks ago, we gave up. We literally gave up. And I went and applied back at HEB. Well, I got the job, but it's been 3 weeks. And in those 3 weeks, we're sitting here thinking, I already worked for them for 6.5 years. I know the job inside out. I can do that job in my sleep. But they never called me back. And I'm like, crap, like a week goes by. And then another week goes by. Last week, I was like freaking out because I'm like, I applied. I did what I said I was going to do. I applied. I got the job. It's not like I'm not applying for jobs. I did apply. I did get the job. What else do you want from me? And they just haven't, they finally called back today. But, between last week and today, I was like, what do I do? So I got the idea of posting on on Marketplace. Hey, I'm a local woodworker. I posted pictures of cabinets that I built, charcuterie boards that I built, this and that. Man, I've never gotten over 100 likes on a Facebook post, on any Facebook post that I've ever done. I got over 100 likes on this, and I got so many. I'm still getting messages. I still got quite a few messages about that today. I just did a job today at a woman's house here in Victoria that I got from that post. The dinner table I'm thinking I'm going to be getting is from that post. It's just been an influx of messages and can you do this? We put her earrings. She just finished a nice batch of earrings, and we put those up, and we've sold so many of them. So right now I'm just like confused because, man, now I'm back to like, hey, we can do this. We can do this. And the holiday season is coming up. So we have a big decision to make. But no matter what happens, MikCin Creations will continue. If I go back to the job or if I don't, I'm hoping, that a miracle happens. And I know that we're the ones that need to make that miracle happen. But it's an emotional thing. We both have gone through emotional lives. We've had so much happen in our lives. Between her parents' divorce, that really, really hurt her. And then, me, I was in foster care growing up. So we've had tough times, but these past 15, our anniversary is going to be in a couple of weeks, and our 15-year. And, you know, the one thing that we both have had for the past 15 years is each other. And, you know, and now our kids too, you know, we have two beautiful children, a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old. And the four of us are like inseparable. Like, it's just awesome. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity to try to do what we want to do. It's our dream, you know, to be able to work for yourself. I worked really hard today. I did a job today, and I came home exhausted. And you know what? I can choose to wake up a little bit later tomorrow because I don't have to clock in, you know, and then I know I'm going to work hard. It's in me, you know, I can't not do the jobs that I have. So that's what I like about this. It's such a freedom. You still got to work hard, you know. I feel like I'm working as hard as I ever have, but I do feel this freedom of the time is actually mine, you know. So it's different. It's tough, you know. So I don't know. That's all I got.
It's nice to know that you've got a partner that looks after you and your family and makes sure that that time, while it's yours, is getting spent doing things that's going to be good for all of you. That's really cool.
100%. 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. And I could not do it. And you know, take away the woodworking, take away the house. I couldn't do life without her. You know, when she found me, I was a mess. I was sleeping in my friend's apartment. And I mean, I had a sleeping bag and a pillow. That's all I had, you know, and it was tough. My first birthday with her, for my present, she gave me a basket, a laundry basket, with, it had toilet paper, you know, things that I needed. And I was like,
Lysol.
Yeah. And because it was tough. But, you know, just having somebody to understand you and help you and be there for you. We didn't expect this to be so emotional. But, you know, and then on top of that, for me, you know, I really have like my five. I have, you know, obviously my wife is my number one, my son and my daughter. And then we have this house. You know, this house is a part of our family. And then to me, it's also the woodworking, my shop. It's all a part of my family that helps me feel, you know, this foster kid that was moving from family to family, you know, just missing people. You know, it's so hard to, you know, move into a family, fall in love with you know, the siblings and the parents, and not really know that you're going to leave, you know, but 3, 4, 6 months later, they take you away and you never see them again. And you don't know why. You don't know what happened. You know, I don't have that anymore. And now I have these 5 things that I've had for a long time. There's consistency. I do want to say though, you know, it's my parents' anniversary. So I was adopted when I was 13 for the last time. I was in 5 or 6 foster homes. I was adopted when I was 6. That was a bad situation. I lived there for 6 years, but it was an abusive situation. They found out, so they took me away from that adoption. And then I moved into another foster home, which adopted me. And so I've had my parents since I was 13. Today happens to be their 52nd anniversary. And that saved my life. You know, to have that consistency is just incredible to me. Like, my parents, I remember all the parents that I've had, but these parents here have been together for a lot longer than I've been alive. And that to me is an amazing thing. So, you know, as you can see, like, my mind, I have ADHD. I think we both have ADHD. My mind goes all over the place. So I need this woodworking.
Imagine us trying to get anything accomplished.
Yeah.
We start something. Oh, there we go. We're doing it right now. We start many things and just go all over the place.
This is us. Yeah.
So
I'm sorry.
Reining things in just a little bit here, boys and girls.
Yes.
I know that you want cabinets to be the future.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you seem to be collecting occasional orders for your slab charcuterie boards, especially ones with the dished out.
Oh,
right? Yeah. Now, is mesquite sort of a species that is in abundance around you, and that's why you guys are choosing it, or are there any properties of it that really stand out to you?
Mesquite, well...
I love mesquite.
Yes to both questions.
These are mesquite. I don't know if you can see
No, those are black walnut.
Oh, these are black walnut?
No.
I've got 3 mesquite ones.
Don't show them those. No, the mesquite is... I can only compare it to black walnut, so I don't know about all different kinds of walnuts. I can only compare it to... I don't know what kind of maple it is that I've worked with here, but I've gotten maple from a cabinet shop. They're cutoffs. That's the only maple I've ever worked with, and I can compare it to pecan, or pecan in Massachusetts. I'm from Massachusetts, so pecan.
That's wrong.
And mesquite is extremely hard. It's a very hard wood, but what I love about it is it does what you tell it to do. It's so just consistent, such a consistent wood. If you get most cuts are going to be, I mean, there's not at least the mesquite that I've worked with, which has been pretty much this entire year. There's not as many bug holes. There's not a ton of knots. And it's just vibrant when you finish it. So I do love it. And it is more abundant it's a little bit more abundant in other parts of Texas, but it is still a little bit abundant here. What's really abundant here is live oak. We're in our area.
Live oak. There's another very hard wood.
Yeah, and I actually don't like. I think live oak might be harder than mesquite. I don't know. They're very similar in the hardness, but they're very different woods. I'm not as much of a fan of live oak. What I love doing with live oak is grinding it. I've made some live oak bowls, and just with the grinder. I don't do any wood turning, and I love wood turning, but I don't have a lathe. But with the you just sit down and make a grind, and like a centerpiece, and I love doing that. But there's something about live oak is just cutting it on the saw. It just doesn't feel as good as mesquite to me. I really can't explain it. Black walnut is kind of abundant, maybe a little bit more towards central Texas, but I absolutely love that too. But pecan it's a little bit softer than mesquite, still a very hard wood, but a little bit softer than mesquite. But man, you can get some grain patterns on pecan. Some of it can be a little plain, but when you get a spalted pecan board, my absolutely favorite board that I've ever made is a spalted pecan board. And it's just beautiful. Some of our friends bought it, thank goodness, so I can maybe go see it every once in a while if I want to. But man, that's she knows the board that I'm talking about. Its name is Chemia.
All right.
And amongst the wood turners, pecan often gets referred to as pecan-crete. When it's green, it's really easy to work, but once it dries all the way out, I mean, it'll dull tools like crazy. It's
really? I didn't know that.
It's really hard. When the moisture content gets low, it'll rough up your hand tools proper. But it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous stuff, and you're right. Spalted pecan is like chef's kiss, so beautiful.
It's what I don't like about pecan is it's at least what I've been working with is it's got a lot of bug holes. And I'm always like, man, I sand a slab and it's looking good. I sand it to 120. Now I'm about to go to 150, and dang it, I just opened up another hole. And that's something else to fill in. And that's why I believe Starbond is a thing here. So I love I love using the Star Bond. You know, because you just drop in a few drops and you sand it off. It's perfect.
So speaking of Star Bond, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of agreed to become sort of a sponsor of the show. So we'll kind of be doing a giveaway once a month. So that's great bringing us. So I appreciate that.
Yes.
Here towards the end, we'll have you guys pick a number, and then we'll pick again from the chat. So stay tuned for that. We'll get there shortly. I know we're running up on time. We might go a little over because you guys are awesome to talk about your stories.
Right.
And you know, we appreciate you. So one of the questions I just want to jump in real quick, and I got two for you, right? So who runs your Instagram? Which one of you?
She is 100% not on social media, except she just came back to Facebook a few months ago.
Very sporadically, yeah.
But
I tried.
It's 100%. Any comment, post, like, share, anything is all from me.
Can I just say that the video that you showed too, or you know, when you made the video for Sawdust Talk, it was like the "I love you," like that is one of my favorite videos of all time.
Thank you.
I was like trying to figure out where you were going with it, and I was like,
yeah.
"Oh my, this is amazing!" And how do I get my wife to do that for me?
Awesome.
I saw that. It was I copied it from, I believe I don't know if it was a TikTok or an Instagram. I think it was an Instagram video, but somebody else had done it, and we did it. But my idea was to have the kids involved in everything. And my son is actually the one that's videotaping her writing it. I had written it in pencil, and so she was tracing what I wrote, and nice. then he had the camera like this and walked into the garage, and I was waiting. So we had the whole thing planned. It probably took us maybe 20 minutes to plan it out, but yeah.
That's awesome. And
Thank
you know, earlier you kind of talked about, you know, walking into that wood shop at that flea market, right? And like what that meant to you. Like, to me, like it's just like the woodworking community, right? Like everyone here is just so like open and like honest and like willing to help you out, right? Like, what's it going to take to get you to the next level? Like, and it's so, I think it's just a reminder for all of us of like we all have to start somewhere, right? Like, no matter who you are or what your knowledge or background is, like you don't know everything. And like, it's really nice to have people who are like willing to lend you tools and like things that you can't afford, right? So that you can like take that woodworking to the next level and eventually like grow your business. And I mean, it's just, you guys have such an amazing story, and I know everyone here is rooting for you guys, and I'm rooting for you. TJ's rooting for you. We all are. So thank you guys for just being here and sharing your story. So
absolutely.
Thank you.
TJ,
thank you so much.
You guys had me tearing up earlier, and I feel like it's heartwarming. It really is. So
thank you so much. It's been, I mean, amazing, to say the least. I mean, we've seen a lot of miracles, and it's just awesome.
It's a long time to be able to get to the point of not being angry about it. So it's good that we're here.
We should write a book or 10.
So I want to talk a little bit about your Facebook posts and prospecting new clients, right? Because we have a little bit of a jump from a business standpoint, and I kind of want to fill this in for my own selfish interests. But so are you guys mostly prospecting new clients through your individual networks of people you know, friends and family, and spreading thusly? Are you doing like Etsy, or maybe reaching out through your parish or something? Like,
we are cheap, and we don't want to pay for anything. So the cheapest, we're frugal. So the cheapest and easiest way to market ourselves for the craft that we do is 100% Facebook. Marketplace is free, and it's local. We don't have to do shipping, you know, and we do some shipping. That's part of the reason why we're doing the earrings now, is because
they're much easier. And
Well, A, because we have the charcuterie board cutoffs, and B, because it's something that we can make in a relatively quick enough time to be able to just knock a lot out at a time, and then we can ship them.
Oh, one thing I wanted to mention was we're not there yet, but so like the earrings that he makes out of wood are the cutoffs that are left over from the charcuterie boards. And I saw somewhere on somebody's website how they are a zero waste company. And I was like, how is that even possible?
Mm-hmm.
Like even with what's left over from the earrings, there's still,
sawdust. Yeah.
Right. So so then I read that they sell their sawdust or they give it away. And I was like, that's genius. Like that would be so awesome because like farms or whoever needs sawdust can have it. We have so much of it.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't go to waste, and I think that's something that could be really awesome, like for woodworkers to be able to be a zero waste company and do something like that. So I hope like that spreads.
So if somebody, might have some advice on that, that would be great,
we get on the Googler and we combine our minds and we figure out a way to make affordable briquette presses. Using all of that mesquite, you can press all that mesquite dust into briquettes. Well, you got a market in your backyard for that one. And I know that they like exist, but it requires handing over large sums of money. But I bet our powers combined, like Kyle, you getting in on this one too. Machinists. We'll figure out a way to make affordable briquette presses because let me tell you, there is no escaping the shavings in my shop.
No, not at all. Oh, especially with what you do with the wood turning. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's tough.
I mean,
but back to your question, the market. So it's tough on Facebook because
if you don't have a big following.
Well, but to me, what's really tough about Facebook and the big difference between Facebook and Instagram to me is that my friends and family are my friends on Facebook. On Instagram, it's other woodworkers. So I really use Instagram more for inspiration. Yeah. It's just, to see y'all, to see, what people do, how they, exactly. Let me take that screenshot. No. But to see how people do it, it's almost like a miniature YouTube to me, but one that I'm involved. Facebook has always been, my mom is on there, my dad is on there, my siblings are on there, and people I work with. If you post something, you go to work and they're right there. That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
So, but Steve Lasalier. He said that if you post on Facebook, if you post on Facebook, get Facebook to be your number one marketing tool because that's where your local customers are. And, honestly, your first customers are going to be your friends and family. When you first start off, 90% of them, a lot of times, are going to be your friends and family. So take advantage of that. And then I just started taking advantage of Marketplace. So I posted, and I hadn't done this because fear, I guess. I thought they would, because I'm a business, they would delete the poster. But I just put on there, hey, I'm a local woodworker. I made it personalized. Shared some, I think you're only allowed to share up to 10 pictures. I shared 10 pictures. I'd love to, I'm available to do jobs, this kind of job. And I put the best cabinets that I built this year on there and a few charcuterie boards. And that's where I started getting a lot of customers that are people that I've never met, but they are all local. That is my bread and butter. That's, I can't build a cabinet and send it to Montana. But I can build one and drive it over to the next town over, so I think that's so. Right now, man, I wish I had done this 5 months ago. But there's better late than never, and I think this is going to be our the way for us to get the clientele that we need.
No, that's
Yeah, no,
that's
and I
really
think
cool.
just posting a skill set and being able to deliver without putting somebody out 16 weeks, right, for a woodworking project or even home improvement. I know that if you're trying to get a contractor or just in-home woodworking done, like nailing trim up, right, assuming you don't have the tools to do it, you're out like 6 to 12 weeks in St. Louis right now, all over the place.
Wow.
Thanks.
Well, I'll tell you what,
So,
the job I just got today was from that post, and I just spent the day at this woman's house, and I hung up a street sign, her number sign, on her brick. I hung up a hose reel for her. I fixed a couple of her cabinet doors. They were loose, so I tightened them up for her. Oh yeah, I'm framing a mirror. We're just finishing painting it and sealing it and all that stuff, and I'm going to put it up tomorrow. And then also I trimmed a door that she wanted to be up a little bit higher off the ground so that she could put a thicker rug under it. Those are things I would have never thought to do, 5 months ago, but she asked if I could do it. And I have a good friend, Jordan, from Ravenwood Wall Art, I believe. And then I've also seen the YouTube videos, the inspirational videos, and my brother even told me, just sometimes you just got to do something that you're uncomfortable doing, and we were struggling, just a month ago, and we were like, we got to get that job. We got to start making money. We're way under our threshold. So she asked me if I could do this, and I said, sure. And I just went and did it today, and it was nothing. It was just like, I got it done. It's all good. So I always say, feel the fear and do it anyway. Just sometimes you just, I just watched a YouTube video to see if I should drill into the brick or the mortar just this morning before I went to her house. You know what I mean?
fair question, man.
Yeah. And that's the answer is yes to both of them.
But yeah, I mean, I ask questions because I don't know the answer, right?
Yeah.
And that's the whole point. And when we start stripping away that fear of asking the question in the first place,
yeah,
right? Because there's no reason to be embarrassed in admitting you don't know something, right?
Absolutely.
Like that's some third grader stuff. That's like, that's not how it works as an adult. You don't know, ask a question. If somebody looks at you funny, man, I don't want to say F them, but at the same time, it's like,
yeah,
look, I wouldn't have asked you if I knew the answer, right? And so, like, I struggle with that in some of the conversations that I have, where it's just like, look, I'm only asking these questions not to be rude or to quiz you, but because I don't know.
Right. And I mean, I think nowadays it's different than when we grew up. I'm assuming we're all somewhere around the same age, but in the 90s, 80s and 90s.
Macho.
Yeah, it was, back then it was tougher. Now, I think, well, you don't have to ask as many questions because you can ask Google or YouTube. But it just, a lot of people have so much information right now at their fingertips. So you can find out things. I do happen to have a friend, Jordan, Ravenwood Wall Art. He's in Connecticut. We've never actually met. But, man, I'm telling you, if you look at our message scroll on Instagram, I mean, we talk almost every single day. There's some days where we don't, but we talk about everything. He's asked me about my history, my foster care history. But he was a contractor, and he knows how to do all the stuff that I want to know how to do.
I'm like, ask your friend.
ask your friend. So, I mean, we've video chatted, we've called, but we text all the time, and I'm always asking him, hey, what do you think I should do about this, or how should I put this door up, and things like that. And he always comes up with you know, he knows, and it's always been a help. So finding somebody like that is crucial. It's having your back like this is crucial. Putting yourself out there is crucial. Don't be afraid. You know, there's going to be people that if you're afraid to post on Facebook because your friend from work is going to see it, and what are they're going to think you're weird. You know, that's, like you said, I don't want to say F them, but F them. You know, I don't like
but like, be weird, right?
Yeah,
that's the thing, weird. Is like, if they're going to think you're weird, be weird, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Kyle's friends with me for reasons that I still haven't figured out, but
I'm still trying to figure it out myself, man.
Yes, exactly. Say, Kyle, do you want to say why now, or?
Let's set that for a different time.
Yeah, no.
No, but I mean,
yeah, it's I don't mind being weird anymore. I'm not at that age where I'll get embarrassed, but I can laugh at myself. You know, I'm a dork. I want to teach my kids that, you know, like I said before, feel the fear and do it anyway. If you're gonna get up on stage and talk in front of a crowd, you just put yourself in there, and you'll be amazed at what your mind and your body can do when you're in the moment. Because I have absolutely seen that. I've in college. I didn't finish college, but I took some college, and we had to do a lot of presentations. I've been a waiter. Just being a waiter was tough for me because you have to get in front of people. You're above them. They're sitting down, and that was hard for me. With my ADHD and all that stuff. Oh, thanks. She's moving the camera.
You're a little off.
But you just gotta, I don't know, you just gotta put yourself out there. It's the biggest thing. And that's what I'm not talking about a lot of woodworking right now, because we just went into this full time, months ago. And the biggest thing that we're learning is the business side of this. You know, we have to make money. We have to make sure that we pay our mortgage. And that is the part that is the hardest for me in this in the business that we have.
We like what we do, but we don't want to deal with that part.
Yeah.
I don't like to be in front of the camera. I don't like to be a look at me type of person. And he tells me it's not about that. You're sharing your craft, your
art. Yeah.
And I mean, I guess it may be different for women, but that's just how I feel, and it's hard breaking out of that.
I've seen her do things. I'm sorry.
So I would take it a step further, right? Like, you guys are like, not only are you sharing that, but like your story. Like, you guys have an incredible story, and like, don't be afraid to like share that, and like, just think of the impact that will have on other people. You know, like, you guys are grinding day in and day out. Like, you're working yourselves to the bone. Like, you're supporting your family. You're living your dream. Like, that's an incredible story. So like, I would say to you, like, share your story. That's going to connect with people. That, like, both of you being on camera, like, that is so cool that you guys support each other, like, to the core. Like, that is really cool, you know?
I'm sure he wakes up with the pillow pressed on his face a little tighter than he thought it would be, like once, maybe twice a year, and that ain't bad for being coworkers. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. It's funny. I tell her, I would love for her to be a part of the Instagram page, more so than what she is. We have to plan it out, and it's tough.
It's tough because I don't want to be on camera because, like, if I don't like wearing makeup, I don't like getting dressed, and we
don't have that problem.
But then, you don't have the problem, and I forgot what I was going to say.
As far as our story, it is. I'm grateful for it. It is amazing, and for the first time, I just met. So I have a biological brother and two biological sisters that went through the whole thing. We weren't together, but we went through all the foster care together in the 80s, or at the same time in the 80s. And there's a picture of us from 1988. It's the last time that all four of us were together, right? We were sitting on the couch. And actually, I'll tell you what, I'll put it on my stories either tonight or tomorrow or something, so y'all can see it. Absolutely. But we did a Zoom meeting a couple weeks ago, and it's the first time since 1988 that the four of us were talking to each other. It was I took a screenshot. I don't want to post it because one of my sisters didn't like her face in it, but I took a screenshot, and it's got sister, brother, and that's the first time since this is 2022, and that's the first time that the four of us talked at the same time since 1988. We haven't seen each other all at the same time yet, but you know, one's in Hawaii, one's in Virginia, one's in Massachusetts, and I'm in Texas. But
yeah, it's all right next to each other.
Yeah, you know, so a couple hours from each other.
Literally right down the road, right? Like what?
But you know, and I told them the same thing. I'm the youngest one out of all of them, out of all of us, and I told them the same thing. I tell her all the time because she's been through some stuff, you know, and our story to talk about what we do. Sometimes I feel like people think that I'm like, woe is me, but it's not that. It's that. And I said this exact same thing to my siblings. I said, somewhere there's a little kid that's going through foster care, and they need to hear our story. They need to know what we went through, and there's not just the foster kids, but foster parents. Foster parents are super important, and they need to know that that little 12-year-old boy that, you know, has been through hell and back can grow up to be a 44-year-old guy, you know, with a wife and kids and a house and a passion. And, you know, I made it, you know, and I'm not saying that I'm successful. I'm not boasting or anything. I'm just so blessed to have what I have because I know where I came from, you know, and it's tough. I think about it all the time. I remember my biological mother, you know, and those are the things I'm thinking about when I'm sanding or when I'm ripping wood on the table saw or when I'm throwing some slabs through the planer. Those are the things. That's what woodworking does to me, is it holds me together and it gives me a focus, you know, where I can actually sit there for the whole day and focus on one thing. And I don't know what it is about it. I don't know why, but it's all I can think about. But it's because of what we've been through. You know, I think about walking or almost swimming, walking through that water with my daughter on the trampoline. You know, in the pouring rain, there's ants. I don't know if people know, but during a flood, there's ants. They form a ball and they float in the water. And I was wondering why I had ant bites all over this part of my chest, and that's where the water was.
Ugh.
You know, there's the details are in your mind, and you know that the woodworking, just being in the shop, smelling it, hearing the tools, using the tools, the feel of a good brand new blade, you know, all that stuff. Even sweeping the floor, I love it. You know, I love all of it. There's nothing about woodworking that I don't like, including sanding. I'm the one person on earth that loves to sand. I could sand all day. It's so much fun.
You keep telling yourself that.
Huh?
It's easy on the lathe, so I don't really complain about it. The wood does all the spinning. I just stand there and do this.
You just hold it, yeah.
Yeah, it's no biggie.
You know, honestly, I feel like a lot of people have been saying that lately, and you know, it's not that bad. But like a lot of people, like it just resonates with a lot of people. Of like after a while, you're like, oh my god, I'm still sanding the same piece. You know,
I love it, and that my friend Jordan, he had actually sent me. He found a Unita, if you know Unita, the company Unita sander. You know, they're $500 sanders. They compete with, you know, Surf Prep and Festool and all that. He found one at a not a garage sale,
Estate.
in an estate sale for $50. Brand new. Still had the plastic and everything in a box. And he sent it to me. And
Nice.
and it's the difference between and I mean, and I liked sanding before. Yeah, exactly.
It's so smooth.
It's so quiet. It's smooth. It's just awesome. And right before that, I had won a $200 gift card for Unita from them. They did a giveaway, and I won that giveaway. And then he just so happens to find this sander. And things like this happen to me all the time. Yeah, exactly. Things like
Do you
this
win
happen
when
to
you
me
like
all the
call
time.
into radio shows? Do they pick up? Is that
Right?
is that the kind of good
Actually, they
fortune that you have?
I've talked on radio shows before.
Hey,
That's
But,
amazing.
that's
so I used that $200 to get sandpaper from them, so now I have this, and it's just amazing. Oh, I don't know what it is. If it's time to use the drill press, I have this Harbor Freight drill press that I use. I love every part of it. Do you have one? The little one?
Yeah, it's over that way.
Yes. If you don't
Oh
press
man,
down
my
too
shop
hard,
is
it works.
brought to you by Harbor Freight. You guys got all those fancy orange rigid tools, man. Mine are all Harbor Freight with the exception of my lathes and my bandsaw.
There you go. Hey, those new Bremen clamps. I want to try those.
Yeah,
those.
Luke
In the
in
garage?
here somewhere. Maybe check him out up here in the names. He's been using them for some cabinet work. Actually, you should probably reach out to him. He's over a couple towns over. I came this close to crossing paths with him last week.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Nice. Awesome.
yeah. He said they're pretty decent. So
They look great.
the price.
So I don't have any questions down in the box on my screen.
Hey,
Do we have? Holy moly! We're gonna have to go lightning round.
We'll just
Wow.
we'll these up quick. So we've got a couple questions.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll do quick.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know where it's gonna take us. But TJ, you want to pull one up, or you want me to?
Okay, yes, I can open it and I see them.
Go ahead, take one.
Somebody from Canada by the name of Sam at Woolly Pedals wants to know why you don't have Southern accents.
Well,
I don't know, y'all.
I'm the worst with accents. She laughs at me with my accents all the time.
Terrible. He has a bit of a Massachusetts accent that comes out every now and then.
Yeah.
I am from the Rio Grande Valley. If I had an accent, it would be like
Like
that.
I'm telling you, like
I can't even remember it, but that's all I got.
to me, she has an accent, and actually my kids do too. But I'm when I speak to somebody from Massachusetts, like on the phone or something, my accent comes out. Like I say, instead of yesterday, I say yesterday, and I forget to pronounce my R's sometimes. But I've had people ask me, "You from Brooklyn?" But
That's awesome.
I don't know. I'm from Massachusetts. She's from the tip of Texas, the south tip of Texas.
So next question here from J May Woodworks. He was on our live last week, right? I think. But he was asking, what was that flood hurricane related, and when?
No.
It wasn't. We had a new road that was being built, and we also had a lake. We were in the middle of a new road being built and a lake next to us.
It was a
pond.
a pond, a small.
And we didn't know that it was flood zone already, but because of the construction, there was like piles and piles of dirt, and everything just went right to us.
The construction pretty much created a dam. This was in 2015, where a lot of people that lived in Central Texas, anywhere between Austin and San Antonio, might remember there was a Memorial Day flood and there was a Halloween flood. And in between, there was rain almost probably 85% of the days throughout that whole summer. And our flood was the Halloween flood. It was we actually had the flood on I want to say it was October 30th.
Yeah.
And then on the 31st. Some people from church took our kids and dressed them in costumes. I had no idea where our kids even were. I just knew they were with somebody from church, so I knew they were safe. But they dressed them in costumes and took them trick-or-treating for us. That was the day after the flood.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
All right. While TJ is reconnecting here, Sam also asks, Cindy, you love color. What's your favorite colors to decorate your home with?
Ooh.
That's pretty funny because now it's kind of the absence of color.
Yep.
Muted grays, black, white, and wood. Those are my colors.
Yep.
And that's what we've done our whole house with.
So it used to be copper or bronzes.
Copper, bronze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it
Dark.
became the farmhouse whites with
white.
teals and pinks. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds exactly like my wife.
Yeah. So yeah, now it's,
Is he back? Are you back?
He's back.
oh, we
We
switched.
switched.
Okay.
We switched. That's cool.
So that was weird. I'm not 100% sure what happened, but then I wasn't in.
You didn't want to hear the color question. That's what it was.
I mean, nothing captivates me more than questions from Sam at Woolly Petals. So
Get it, DJ. You're done, man. You're checked out. So
I honestly, I was scrolling through questions and then it was like, boop, home screen. And I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe we went over time and we all got booted out. And it's like Sawdust Talk still live. And I'm like, poking buttons.
Okay. So
you want to ask this one from
Okay,
Luke?
yeah, sure. So Luke, the gentleman for whom you should be conversing about Bremen clamps, what was one of your main goals when you started versus where you are now? And I think we touched on that a little bit because it went from let's make some extra money to let's make some mortgage money, right?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
But so how about instead you tell me a goal that you've set for the next 90 days before we close out the year?
We'd like to be able to pay bills next month.
Sure.
It got that bad.
Yeah.
To survive. Right now, we're in survival mode. And you know what, man? This is what happens. This is small business in America right now. It's tough. It's not easy, especially if you're somebody like us who, we have ADHD. We've been through a lot, and we're learning as we go right now. So right now it's to survive. So if that means having to go get a job, that's okay. That's not a bad thing. If you're able to get a job, go do it. Be responsible. Make sure that the bills get paid. There's food on the table, and all that stuff. So right now we're at a point where we need to kind of just take a look back and just do what we got to do to survive, and then come back with a better plan the next time.
So one thing that I want to touch on also before we knock out our last two questions, it doesn't work on my window. Kyle, can you kind of gesture towards this corner of your screen right here where the Sawdust Talk logo is? No, the other way. Yeah, that's it, right up there. Okay, so there's a little downward pointing arrow next to all of those names. If everybody that's watching the show today presses that little downward arrow, you can follow Mike and Cindy from that button right there. Awesome. Really, really cool. Lets everybody in the chat know, and we want to make sure that, in addition to coming on here and sharing your story with us, that maybe we can help you boost your following. Maybe we can get you in touch with some of the people in this audience. And not everybody knows that that button's up there and that there's like a super easy shortcut for following all the cool kids on Sawdust Talk.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for that.
Under TJ. So Cindy, next question again from Sam. Do you participate in the woodworking, and do you anticipate getting more involved in that in the future, or kind of where do you want to be in the business part of it?
I am a part of it. Every single design we talk about, and I okay it or not. And I'm like, oh, maybe we should do this instead. So I am behind the scenes, but I am very much a big part of things that go out. Except, well, no, even the charcuterie boards, we design them. We draw out the shapes on the boards and
Pinterest. Yeah.
I don't care where you found that dish. Keeps your olives and your raisins from running away, man. That's so key.
We actually have an order for 5 of those right now. 5 of that same board. But as far as the woodworking, Do you like power tools? Do you like using them?
I have, and I don't. No, not like I've used. What was that big one that goes down?
The miter saw.
I used the small one.
I had a
one?
7 1/4 inch cobalt miter saw, and she did use that. But then I got the big 12-inch rigid, and that's a massive saw. It's got the 70-degree cut, and if you're not ready for it, when you press it to get the motor started, it jumps up a little bit, so you have to be ready for that. And yeah,
I experienced. I was a little bit braver when we lived at the apartment. He had a smaller.
The 7 1/4. Yeah.
And I experienced some kickback, and I was like, oh,
yeah.
Okay, probably not for me.
I wasn't around. I would have.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna make something on my own, and no.
Yeah.
I mean, but right. I can use pretty much any other tool. I won't use the table saw, and I won't use that big thing, or the scroll saw.
The planer.
I've not pushed.
She's helped me with the planer.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, for whom I'm filling in because his eyeball's falling out of his head. He sent me a message to remind me to let everybody know that he would have been here and he wanted to be here and he wrote those jokes. Would like me to also point out that his wife can't stand to look at him. And he would like to know how the two of you are able to separate work from marriage.
How do we
We don't separate. It's very hard because sometimes I feel like I need to get my CEO voice on.
No, the CEO voice isn't scary. It's the wife voice that's scary.
we work with each other, and we have lots of fun, and we laugh, and then we fight, and we go back and all again.
I would love to be able to just carry a camera around 24/7.
We have so much fun, and we're so funny, but I feel like we're so vanilla when we post things because I'm like, I don't know, I want to be professional, but we're super silly and just really corny.
We're dorks. We both like the same kind of music. We both love the same kind of movies. But we do fight. I mean, we're not perfect. We're just not going to post a lot of that stuff on Instagram or Facebook or whatever because it's not.
That's not the message we want to.
We want to be uplifting.
Right.
We want people. We don't want to not be real.
Right.
But we want to be uplifting to people. We want people to enjoy. Us, not watch us because it's like, oh my God, what's happening? We want them to watch us because, oh wow, that's cool, and
that's what's happening.
Yeah.
You get on my nerves a lot. I'm sure I get on your nerves a lot.
No, never.
But I honestly would rather him be here than not be here because for so many years he was asleep while we were awake and vice versa. And so it's a lot nicer having him here. Especially with me being home alone at night, that was always very stressful for me.
Yeah.
So I like it.
We're best friends. If you put a good, I don't know, Dr. Dre song on from the 90s or, Snoop Dogg or Queen or any of the 80s hair bands, we know all the words and we love it. And we do karaoke. And the kids are so shy that they won't do karaoke in front of us. But they want us to do karaoke. Like they'll set up the machine and tell us, go do karaoke. Because they like hearing us, sing, and we'll belt it out, and we both don't know how to sing at all.
One day, Kyle, I'll perform my rendition of Cisco's The Thong Song in your presence.
Yes.
Whilst holding a karaoke mic.
Yes.
And your world will become complete. Boys and girls, the time is now 11:24. This conversation was riveting, delightful, emotional, informative. I mean, you guys, this is what Sawdust Talk is about. You guys crushed it, and I'm so happy to have you guys with us. We're just shy of 20 viewers. Do we want to do a George Supply Co?
Yeah, we can. So
Yeah.
kind of on that note, I'll post something tomorrow about a Starbond giveaway, and we'll make that happen.
Sorry,
Look
Starbond.
for that. But yeah, we can do a George Supply Go and go with that for tonight if you want, TJ. I'll let
Yeah,
you.
that sounds awesome. Okay. Mike, Cindy, one of you needs to write a number between 1 and 23 backwards on a piece of paper. And with all of your gel medium experience, this should come to you naturally.
Okay.
Okay, so we're not quite ready there, Chad.
I think we know what number. So you said between 1 and 23 backwards.
Yes.
I hope I got this
So
right.
that when you show the camera, it's forward.
Oh, gotcha.
I think
Okay, so we've got 23, 4, another 23, 5, 12. Scream when you hear it. 15.
13.
15 again. 13.
Give us some hints here. Where do we need to go?
Down.
19. 17.
No,
It's
that's
always
up.
17. No. We got an 11.
Go down.
9. C9. My wife guesses C9. You sunk her battleship. Congratulations. 12. 11.
8.
9 was closest. 8
2.
was
8.
3.
I saw 7.
So,
Yes.
all right. Who had 7?
Luke's Custom Woodworking.
Way to go, Luke. He can finally
Luke.
get that RoboCop shirt he always wanted.
All right,
Nice job.
Luke.
All right, boys and girls. Kyle, are you on next week?
Me? I'm always on.
You're always on. I think I'm on next week.
Sure. So we will get Luke's information over to Scott at George Supply Co. TJ, thank you for co-hosting. Mike and Cindy, you guys are phenomenal. Like TJ said, we're so happy to share your story and be a part of it. Honestly, and
Thank you so much. And I just want to say real quick, I am amazed. Everybody that you got coming up is amazing, but I'm amazed that I'm on a show that the Wood Whisperer and Jason Bent are both going to be on.
You're amazing. A big deal. Right, you are a big deal. The whole point of Sawdust Talk is to remind you guys you're a big deal.
Yes, I love that. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, it's so cool, right? That's what's so cool about this show is we get to feature these smaller accounts, but also Ed Mancini, right? He's amazing.
Yeah,
has all these awesome connections and got us hooked up with all these huge accounts too. So it's
man,
it's such an awesome range, and it's such a great part of showing every aspect of this community. And I would just encourage you both to share your story, share your personalities, and keep encouraging others to kind of do the same, because you guys are, like I said, phenomenal. So TJ, Mike and Cindy, thanks all tonight, and we'll catch you next week. TJ, you want to do your
same bad time, same bad channel?
Perfect.
Yes.
See you later, guys.
All right, bye.